On a tranquil Friday evening, I was hoping to unwind with my beautiful wife after an exhausting week working out on the flight line. After 22 years of marriage, our 3 children were now grown and living independently. I thought it might be the perfect opportunity for us to enjoy a pleasant evening together. My name is Mark Anderson, a reserve and composed A&P mechanic and crew chief for arrivals and departures during the day shift at United Airlines. After spending 25 years working less favorable shifts, I had finally earned a coveted daytime schedule. My wife, Julie Anderson, worked as a charge nurse in labor and delivery at Central Hospital, also on the day shift. Both of us earned comfortable salaries, with mine being slightly higher due to the union contract. This financial stability placed us firmly in the upper middle class. As I pulled my pickup truck into the garage and closed the door, I thought about how we'd decide what vehicle to take if we were going out. If the evening called for something elegant, we'd opt for her Lincoln Navigator. For country western nights, my F-250 would be the ride of choice. Julie usually made the decision, and I was content with that. After all, if Mama's happy, Daddy's ecstatic. Inside, I set my keys on the kitchen table and noticed a stack of mail. From upstairs, I heard footsteps and some muffled noise. Moments later, my stunning 42-year-old wife entered the living room, wearing a short robe that always lifted my spirits. "Oh," she said, startled. "You're early. I wasn't expecting you for another hour." I glanced at my watch. I was a bit early, but not by much. "What's going on? Where are we heading tonight?" I asked, eager to make plans. Julie hesitated, her voice tinged with unease. "Well, I'm going out. I'm not sure what you plan on doing." My mood instantly plummeted. "What do you mean you're going out? Where and with whom?" Her eyes briefly flicked to a small overnight bag at the end of the couch. "I have a date with William Carter. It's for the weekend. I'll be home Sunday night, and we can talk about it then." The shock nearly floored me. She turned and hurried upstairs, slamming the bedroom door behind her. I needed reinforcements for whatever was about to unfold. Grabbing my phone, I speed-dialed my daughter. No way was I letting Julie spin this into a he-said-she-said scenario. "Hi, Dad. What's up?" My daughter answered cheerfully. "I need you to come over right now. Your mother's hurt her head, and she needs us," I said, keeping my tone steady. "What? Dad, what's going on?" she asked, confused. I hung up without elaborating and called my oldest son, repeating the same story. "Dad, what on earth?" he began, but I ended the call, instructing him to contact his younger brother. Next, I called Julie's parents, informing them of her injury. They sounded equally baffled, but I ended the calls before they could ask more questions. From Julie's purse, I dumped the usual items onto the coffee table: credit cards, keys, and a 12-pack of Trojan condoms. Considering I'd had a vasectomy years ago, these were clearly not intended for us. I also discovered an email confirmation for a Marriott hotel in Kenworth, reserving room 703 for the weekend. I knew William Carter. He was a pediatric surgeon at Julie's hospital. Over the past 5 years, I'd met him at hospital Christmas parties, and he always came across as sleazy. He was also married. I'd met his wife, a striking woman who often seemed disinterested in him. Pocketing the hotel email, I took Julie's credit cards and car keys, then unlocked her phone. Her passcode was our anniversary date plus the number 3, representing our 3 children, a poor attempt at security. I searched the hospital's emergency contact list until I found Carter's home number. Calling his cell felt pointless, but the home line might yield something. After 2 rings, a warm, expectant voice answered. "Oh, honey, I've been waiting for your call. I didn't recognize this number. Is everything okay?" She sounded exactly like Mary Carter, William's wife. "Is this Mrs. Carter?" I asked. "Yes." "Who is this?" she replied, her tone slightly cautious. "My name is Mark Anderson. My wife works as a charge nurse at the hospital with your husband. I'm not sure if you remember me from the holiday parties. Yes, Mark. Of course. I remember you. William and I were just talking about you and your wife a couple of nights ago, she said, her voice steady but curious. I was expecting a call from him. What can I do for you? She asked. So your husband isn't home? I inquired. No, he's in Boston at a surgical conference. Why? Is something wrong? I took a deep breath. Mrs. Carter, I don't know how to say this, but I don't think your husband is in Boston. I just confronted my wife, and she said she's spending the weekend with him at the Marriott in Kenworth. I have an email confirming the booking of 7 adjoining rooms on the 7th floor from tonight until Monday. What you're saying is that William is at the Marriott, not at a conference, she asked in disbelief. I think we're both being lied to, I said softly. Her voice trembled as she replied, I'm going to look into this, Mr. Anderson. I'll save your number and get back to you. I hung up, feeling like the world was spinning out of control. I scrolled through Julie's contact list again and saw Karen Daniels, the head of HR at the hospital and a supposed friend of Julie's. Karen's husband, a detective surgeon, might be able to help. I dialed Karen's mobile. Hello, she answered tiredly. Karen, it's Mark Anderson, Julie's husband. I think there's some serious misconduct involving Dr. Carter and my wife. I need this investigated, and stopped. She inhaled sharply. Mark, I can't talk right now. I have to go. And then she hung up. Within seconds, Julie's phone rang. My stomach churned as I answered on the third ring. Julie, he knows. He knows everything. The caller's voice was urgent. I cleared my throat, cutting in. Not everything, Karen, but I'm getting closer. A gasp echoed from the other end before I ended the call. I found Karen's home number on the list and dialed it. A man answered. Look, I don't want to upgrade my cable service, he grumbled. Is this Jeremy Daniels? I asked. Speaking. Who is this? It's Mark Anderson, Julie's husband. Hey, Jeremy, your wife said she was busy and hung up. She's head of HR, right? Yeah. She's away this weekend at some team-building retreat sponsored by the hospital down in Philly. Why? I explained everything. Julie's sudden announcement, the hidden condoms, the Marriott reservation, the phone calls. Do you think there's more to this than just Dr. Carter and Julie? Jeremy exhaled, sounding tense. I'm starting to. Don't do anything rash, Mark. I'll see what I can find out. Just then, Julie came downstairs, wearing a tight red silk dress that made her look like a high-priced escort. She froze when she saw her purse's contents spilled across the table. What the hell, Mark? Why did you dump my stuff? She demanded, starting to gather her belongings. You're not going anywhere, I shouted. Sit down and shut up. She glared at me. You can't tell me what to do. I'm an adult. I snapped, I can. In a flash of anger, I grabbed her dress and tore the neckline. She gasped, revealing little more than a revealing bra, garter belt, and smoky gray stockings. I paid for that dress, I hissed. If you're leaving tonight, it won't be in my clothes. My phone rang. I put it on speaker. It was Mary Carter calling me back. Mark Anderson here, I said. Her voice was shaky. Mark, I was ready to be suspicious. I reported my car stolen, but it turns out I own it. Not William. The police just pulled him over. He tried claiming he was my husband and had every right to drive it. When the cops called me, I told them my husband was in Boston, so that was impossible. She gave a short, bitter laugh. He demanded a lawyer. I'm heading down to the station now. Tell your wife I'll be coming for her next. Julie, who had been standing there with her torn dress, let out a choked cry. What did you do, Mark? At that moment, the front door burst open. Our adult children rushed in. Max, my oldest son, Helen, my daughter, and Ethan, my younger son. They looked around in confusion. Dad, what's going on? Max asked. Mom, are you okay? Helen rushed to Julie's side. noticing her ripped dress. Mom, oh my gosh, you're dressed like this? Dad, did you do that? Julie was about to walk out when I said flatly, "Tell them, Julie." Ethan shut the door behind him, his face frowning. "What do you mean?" he asked, looking at the condoms scattered on the coffee table. "Mom, what are these?" Julie's voice trembled. I don't know how they got in my purse." "Where were you going, Ma?" Helen asked in disbelief. Julie lifted her chin defiantly. "It's my body." A thick silence settled over the room. My eldest son quickly vanished into the kitchen, only to return moments later holding an envelope. "Dad, this is for you," he said, handing it over. Julie screamed, lunging for the envelope. "Don't read that," she pleaded. I snapped at her. "Sit down. I'm done with the games." Inside the envelope was a note in Julie's handwriting. "My dearest husband, my sister needs my help with our mother. I'll be gone until Monday evening. Hugs and kisses, Julie." The kids exchanged stunned glances. It was clear she had been preparing to leave, weaving a fabricated story. Just then, the doorbell rang again, and in stormed Julie's parents, looking frantic. "Julie, are you okay?" her mother cried, while her father demanded, "Someone, tell me what's going on." Julie stared at them, tears in her eyes, and collapsed into a faint. "Welcome to the circus," I muttered. "Your daughter just shredded our marriage, and likely her career." While Julie's mother and Helen helped her regain composure, I turned to her father and detailed everything I'd uncovered. The phone calls, the hotel reservations, the potential co-conspirators. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Finally, Julie stirred, trembling in her half-dressed state. She begged her mother, "Please help me." Her mother scowled. "Help you? How about you call your sister for help, since you were supposedly going to her place?" I handed Julie's father the note and dialed her sister's number. A cheerful voice answered. "Hi, this is Linda. Who's calling?" "This is Mark," I replied. "How's your mom doing? Is Julie with you?" Linda hesitated before saying, "Mom's fine, but Julie's busy. Can I have her call you back?" Julie's mother grabbed the phone, her voice icy. "That won't be necessary," she snapped. "You're lying." A loud screech echoed from Linda's end before the line went dead. Julie, still barely dressed, collapsed into sobs. My phone rang again. This time, it was Jeremy Daniels, Karen's husband. "Mark, you were right. I got a warrant for those 7 adjoining rooms at the Marriott. We raided them, claiming a missing person lead. We found 12 others, including my wife, 3 male doctors, 4 female doctors, 4 nurses, and 1 HR staff member. And Karen, sorry, man." I exhaled heavily. "It is what it is." "Thanks, Jeremy." Turning to Julie, I said, "Go upstairs, put on something decent, and get out of my house." Tears streamed down her face, the remnants of her dress hanging off her. "Please, Mark, don't throw me away like this." "You threw us away," I shot back, "when you started spouting that it's my body. I can do what I want nonsense. I was tempted many times, but I never acted on it because I loved you, and this is what I get in return. Get out." She sobbed and ran upstairs, losing a shoe along the way. The living room fell into silence. Helen sighed. "I'll go make sure she doesn't do anything stupid. Otherwise, I won't be able to stay mad at her forever." About 30 minutes later, Julie came downstairs in jeans and a sweatshirt, her hair a tangled mess. My oldest son stood in front of the door, blocking her way. "Mom," he said in a clipped tone, "don't worry. I'll let Adrian know we may have to rearrange the wedding for your new man if you still want an invite. He might bring someone else, though, if it comes to that." Julie took one last look around before leaving, ushered out by her mother. She clearly needed help, but it wasn't coming from me tonight. Soon after, more details emerged. Dr. Carter had used hospital funds to cover the rooms, paying for food and alcohol under the pretense of an official seminar. It turned out that these weekend retreats had been going on for a while. Several marriages exploded after the raid, and everyone involved was either fired or disciplined. Julie, apparently new to the adult club, had been swayed by flattery and peer pressure. She insisted they told her I'd never find out, and that many husbands enjoyed the thrill of their wives' adventures. She gave in after 6 months of persuasion. I filed for divorce, though I couldn't bring myself to finalize it. Despite everything, I still loved her. Months passed while she underwent counseling, and the kids and I tried to heal. The airline gave me extended medical leave. Julie lost her job, as did everyone else involved. William Carter was sued by several people, with his wife and me leading the charge. I took my share of the settlement and distributed it among the other betrayed spouses. The hospital tried to cover it up, eventually settling out of court with large payouts over time. I realized I still wanted Julie in my life, and we slowly began rebuilding trust. Very slowly. I never stopped questioning if we'd be okay. Sometimes, during our most intimate moments, she would break down and apologize. It got better, though. Love can be a strange and powerful thing. About 8 months into the chaos, I confronted Dr. Carter as he left his gym. White-hot rage overtook me. I broke 3 of his fingers and crushed one of his testicles. He doesn't look so good anymore. Lucky for me, Jeremy was there as a witness, and no charges were pressed. Don't mess with my wife, or I won't stay mild-mannered for long. Life goes on. We're still together, but I sure watch her closely. And that's the story of how one Friday evening nearly destroyed my marriage, my sanity, and tested the limits of what I would do for love.